And we're singing. We're singing. Time to talk. Beauty and the Bitch. I can't believe it's finally that time of year again.
What time of year? Wait. Did you shit yourself?
I did, but that's literally beside the point. We said we'd
okay.
never talk about it. It's time for glitz and glamour and snowflakes galore. Of course, I'm talking about the fucking
Syphilis clinic!
Golden Globes.
Oh, so I thought...
It's for all the
syphilis
snowflakes. Because it's
thought-
really white. And
Yeah,
also
it's
the
glamorous.
patriarchy.
Yeah. I don't get...
It's really sexist. But we're still really excited about it because number one, who doesn't love champagne? And number two, who loves the... Did I mention I already had some champagne? Who doesn't love to like judge things, right? And the whole point of it is to be like, you're better than these other people. Which basically is our whole life.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
what we live for.
By the way, I'm Mick.
Oh, I'm Morgan.
And welcome back to another episode of...
The Morgan Show.
What the hell?
I don't know. I felt like you really just set me up for that one.
Okay, can I just say you're literally covered in feces because it's that time of year. And I met you at the syphilis clinic. I invited you into my home. And now you're stealing my show. My show. Mine alone.
That is what's happening. But truly, you are here with Beauty and the Bitch. We'll let you pick which one after that conversation we just had.
Yeah, I think it might be difficult to choose at this point.
Girl. So we're here today, like I said, to talk about the Golden Globes, which is one of those very white award shows that every now and then tries to diversify, but then hires Seth Meyers to be the host. So, they kind of put the effort in, but kind of not.
So, the Golden Globes is airing on the 7th of January, 2018.
Excellent.
Right?
And it will be the 75th annual Golden Globes.
Ooh.
That's a lot, 75.
Yeah, you were only 15 when they aired the first one.
Well, I'm looking pretty good.
Debatable.
Okay, that's fair.
But Seth Meyers, though?
To be honest, I feel like when I read that, I thought I was reading the info from last year because I was like, didn't he probably just do this? Because that's the kind of thing he does. But he's just one of those people where he's like a safe choice. He's funny but not controversial. And the white people love him.
That's true. Well, but for 3 years in a row, Ricky Gervais hosted the Golden
What?
Globes.
Really? 3 years?
Yes. 3
That's
years
excessive.
And girl, his little host monologues were infamous.
He tore people down.
So good.
Yeah.
And then Amy Poehler and Tina Fey co-hosted.
Oh, I remember that one.
I
they
think
won.
That was another
they
3
were
years.
incredible.
They were great. And it's interesting, though, now to go to Seth Meyers. Like, I don't have anything against that man, essentially. Or necessarily.
Because he's so vanilla, you literally can't have anything against him. I think that's the point. Because this has been such a heavy year for controversy. They were like literally this block of wood or Seth Meyers, and he was the safer choice. You know what I mean? I think so.
That totally makes sense. Yeah. Well, that's fine because they've got plenty of controversy anyway because of the decisions they made. But we're gonna get into all that. Can we switch things up?
Oh, please.
I like to switch it up. Normally it's 1 in the stank and 2 in the vagina. Wait, how's that phrase go?
You know what? It doesn't apply to you.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's why I can never remember it. I have a 2 truths and a lie.
Oh!
Okay, it's about the Golden Globes.
Please ask me.
Okay. Now, this is the beginning of the show, so it's going to be sad if you fail because then you're going to be embarrassed the entire
whole time.
episode.
It's just shame.
But you're used to that.
That's
okay.
fair.
Number 1. There are only about 90 members of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association who vote.
That's fucked up. I feel like that's an inadequate number of people. And like, what's their diversity range? And how many of them are gay or lesbian? This is not a very good pool of people, I imagine.
So you think that might be true and also problematic. Okay, possibly. Second option. The Golden Globes is considered the least serious of the award shows, but one of the best parties.
To be honest, I don't know, but that does sound accurate.
Sounds like it could be.
Because it's TV and movies, so it's kind of like, oh, we're all just here jacking around. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, because then the Emmys is like just TV, and then the Oscars are just movies.
Exactly, but Golden Globes are just like, come on in, who cares? We're everything, possibly. Okay. Number 3, the Golden Globes were founded in 1919 by Theodore Roosevelt.
Okay, 75 minus...
You're in a no, you can't do that math in your head.
2017 minus 17 is 2000. And 75 minus 17 is 63.
I literally don't understand how that math connects. I'm not even being shady. I'm so confused.
And then 2000 minus 63 is not
1919. I literally did not believe you would ever do math in order to get to this answer.
I think the third one's a lie. And also, Roosevelt! You know what? Why did I even bother with fucking math? I hate myself right now.
No, I like it. You're saying a good example. Do you see how
hard it was for me to do that math? It was a struggle.
I was not fronting when I told you I didn't understand how those numbers connected to the answer.
Well, I'm doing that new age math where you take a number and you just throw it in the air and then you just hope you grab the right answer.
Oh, you're like that guy all up in, what was that Neil Gaiman movie? He had those special dice.
Oh, Stardust.
Yeah, it's Stardust.
Well, girl, that's how I live my life. Everything's a gamble.
So you're completely right, Morgie. I just made up that last shit.
Woo! Worth it.
You know, the Golden Globes is, to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, the only award show where they have dinner while the show is going on.
Oh, they eating? They get snacks?
They get snacks.
Well, I bet they get a nice dinner.
They get, like, din-din.
That's awesome.
Like, gold-edged plates, and I'm sure they have alcohol.
That's fancy.
It's part of the reason it's supposed to be a great party. Whereas, like, with the Emmys or the Oscars, you have to
just sit there. Yeah. And it's, like, forever long. I can't recall how long the Golden Globes are. I'm sure they're forever long. But if you got a glass of champagne and a T-bone steak, you ain't mad.
Mm-hmm. Now, if I was going to go to the Emmys, I just have a pocket full of Klonopin. So I'm happy. I'm feeling it.
Also, I feel like if I ever make it big enough to be invited to the Golden Globes, I will be so bougie. I'll wear white gloves and I'll ask someone else to cut all my food up for me so I don't embarrass myself.
You know what you should do? Because this is going to happen for you. Yes, but with the addition of, you should do those gloves that have nails on the outside.
Yes. And they're like so long I can't even go to the bathroom.
Exactly.
That it doesn't make sense.
Someone's going to have to wipe for you. Yes. But that first bit is also true.
About the racist, sexist people?
Well, yeah, sadly, that's true too. But as far as the size, the pool of people who vote...
That's tiny.
Less than 100.
Mm-hmm. And they're from, like, 55 different countries. Mm-hmm. So, like, they're trying to diversify it, I guess, by being different countries. But what journalists? They're not going to have my opinion.
You know what, though? To be a voting member, I saw this on Wikipedia.
Ooh, so it's accurate.
You have to live in Southern California.
Wait, what?
Yes, queen. They're from all over the place.
But they all live there?
Photographers or journalists who do entertainment, but you have to have your permanent home in Southern California. And you also have to attend 4 meetings, and you have to be currently producing work. You have to do, like, 4 articles and or 4 published photographs every year. So that's part of the reason it's so tiny is because it's like gerrymandering, kind of, except maybe not exactly. Because
they're drawing their lines very specifically. Exactly. Okay. That's really interesting. And because it is such a small pool of people, they do find ways to make interesting choices. For example, the snubs that came out of this year's nominations.
Girl.
Speaking as a woman, which we both are,
yes, biological women here.
It's really, really upsetting to watch so many women get snubbed in the directorial, like, what's it called?
Like best director?
Yeah. Yeah. What's it called? Category. That's
category. Oh, I see.
I couldn't find it with my lady brain. But it's really, truly, truly bullshit. So, specifically the women who really got snubbed this year, somebody that I'm really sad to see get snubbed, Greta Gerwig, who wrote and directed her indie debut. Greta Gerwig is an indie sweetheart. She's really well known for a lot of other movies that she is starred in. One of her most recent ones, 20th Century Women, was a fantastic film from last year that got a lot of snubs. It should have been nominated. It was a beautiful film. She was one of the best characters. And now she's breaking out, doing her thing. Literally, critics around the world are saying with their words, not mine, that this is quite possibly the most perfect movie. It has like a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. Everyone loves it. It did receive some nominations. Saoirse Ronan for the lead role in Lady Bird.
I've heard she's amazing.
And I think, I'm pretty sure she got nominated for screenplay, which I think she'll take home. But to get snubbed in the directorial category is really upsetting.
You know, I agree. I was surprised. Now, I haven't seen Lady Bird, but it's just because I don't like Public or People or anything.
I haven't seen it because I haven't had time, but it's literally at the top of my list of the 35 movies I haven't seen that I want to see.
Yes, it's very much up there for me, too. I was shocked, speaking of another female director who deserved to be there, in my opinion, Patty Jenkins for Wonder Woman.
Who crushed it.
And let's just say, like, no one else has been able to direct... what are they called? MCEU films?
Yeah.
That was any good. They've all been
Just
horrible,
her.
Except for Wonder
She's
Woman.
the
and
only
they snub
one.
her?
Yeah.
No, I'm not the one. Plus, I like her hair, but that's beside the point.
And one can make an argument that superhero movies don't tend to get as many nominations, but I don't think so. I feel like we honor them for some aspects when they do things well. And she really, really directed that film very well and was really well received too. One of the biggest movies of the summer. So that's upsetting.
And everything was against her, you know, as far as making a movie that actually held up as a movie. So I'm pissed about that. But there's one other one I know we're both pissed about.
Oh, you go for it.
Oh,
I have two other ones.
Oh, you have two other ones.
So you go first.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm excited. So, I fucking loved Get Out.
Oh, Jordan Peele, non-female, but yes, he did get snubbed.
Yes. But big snub.
Yeah, big snub, big time.
Huge. And that is a culturally important movie. That's a movie that I truly believe people will be talking about
forever.
2, 3, 4 decades from now. Because it really, kind of like Lady Bird, puts a point on where our culture is right now and the things that are being left unsaid and the things that we, because of polite society, are trying not to talk about, even though these things desperately need to be named and discussed. That's actually, for me, that's the number one that I'm pissed about, because when I saw that movie, I was like, this is unlike anything I've ever seen. It's amazing. So.
And while the Golden Globes do tend to shed light on how the Oscars will go, that doesn't mean that Jordan Peele won't get the big nomination.
That's true.
But it's really glaring that there's 5 white men nominated in this category.
Well, Del Toro is whitish.
Well,
I mean,
whitish.
he's a minority person.
And then Jordan Peele got left out, and then Greta Gerwig, Patty Jenkins, and then 2 other female directors who had really strong showings this year at film festivals. Sofia Coppola for The Beguiled, which I haven't seen, but it did really well at the Cannes Film Festival. It was really well received, won a lot of awards, and then Catherine Bigelow, who has she was like the first woman to win an Oscar for The Hurt Locker, directing that. She had a movie called Detroit that caught a lot of traction at some festivals and like got, you know, they got nominated for other stuff. But, you know, when you have like 4 powerhouse women who did movies this year, not to mention there's other women who've done other things, it's insane that at least one of them wasn't nominated, most specifically Greta Gerwig. It's insane.
I totally agree. And who's the first woman you said? Not Hurt Locker, but
Sofia Coppola.
Sofia Coppola. Now she's been nominated for a Golden Globe before.
She has.
But she's never won.
I think twice.
Twice, yeah. She's got a pretty.
Well, it's really hard for her to win when there's only been 7 women total in the 75 years nominated in this category.
And 1 winner. 1 female director.
And while Barbara Streisand herself is a queen, is Yentl the representation of lady directors for the past 75 years?
Well, and that's the thing.
Fucking
it's
Yentl.
Nothing against Barbara Streisand or Yentl, obviously, at all. But the problem is when you've only got one example of a thing, it comes to stand for the whole thing. And so now Yentl and Barbara Streisand, according to the Golden Globes, they're the the best representation of female directors
It's
in North America.
Yeah, so there were some snubs there, mostly in the directing category, which is a really important. It's, to me, best director is like kind of right behind best film, because of course the actors give a shit about, you know, what they get, and I care about that too, but I mean the director really makes or breaks a film. You know,
it's
what I mean?
about the lens, right? You know, it's like a great actor or actress, they can put something on screen or on stage that is revolutionary, but they're thinking about their role generally. They can only do so much, whereas a great director, their vision is what the film is. Which is
why Patty Jenkins did such a great job, you know?
Yes.
Because Wonder Woman turned around and then she was in Justice League and people didn't care for that movie.
No.
Not that Gal Gadot had anything to do with that, but...
Well, no, not at all. It wasn't her fault. It was the male gaze, is my opinion. I think you agree with me here because I think we've talked about it. All of a sudden, in Justice League movie, Wonder Woman's wearing tighter, smaller things. There are tons of fucking butt shots.
Yeah.
Just butt shots left and right.
Mm-hmm.
And she was gorgeous in Wonder Woman. She was sexy, but there was something about the gaze that was different.
Yep.
And it was the lack of the male gaze because she's a female director, I think.
Yeah. Another really interesting thing that happened this year that I actually kind of think we should applaud is Ridley Scott directed a movie called All the Money in the World. And I had never heard of that until these awards came. Sorry. I had never heard of that until these awards came out. And anyway, so I was just like reading about it. But what's really important about this movie is that he did the right thing, because Kevin Spacey was co-starring in this film, and he, after the movie was wrapped and after the controversy came out with Kevin Spacey, he went back, recast Christopher Plummer, and reshot every scene that Kevin Spacey was in with Kevin
Spacey out.
And then Christopher Plummer sweeping up a nomination for Best Supporting Actor. So on so many fronts, that's incredible, because he literally threw this movie back together in time for the award season, re-showed the Hollywood Foreign Press, like they had already seen the other one, re-showed them this one, and then still snagged some awards. And you know what?
What? It's
really interesting to see the death of Kevin Spacey's career, because, I mean, one can't be ashamed to say, like, you know, of course I used to love him. He's an excellent actor.
American Beauty.
Yeah, ugh. He's really, like, had been a special actor, and there's been a lot of changes. Like, they almost shut House of Cards down, and they only agreed to do another season just with Robin Wright to keep everyone's jobs. But they were like, fuck you, Kevin Spacey, you're dead to us. And then this happened. I just feel like there's a lot of, like, dark things happening out there, and a lot of sadness and a lot of, like, scandal. But, like, it's really nice when you see somebody go out of their way, spend a bunch of money to do what they think is the right thing.
Absolutely.
And I think it's going to pay off for him. I think he's going to snag some awards.
I think so too. Well, and you know, that thing with Kevin Spacey, it's interesting because we'll get back, and I've got the list of Best Director nominations here. So we can go. But just very quickly, Kevin Spacey is one of the most egregious examples of a male predator that have come out since this, like, time of truth telling. I think Weinstein's up there also. But I mean, how many, aren't there like 23 allegations from that theater he used to run in England? And then there are like 17 from people who worked on House of Cards.
It's really upsetting.
And then, of course, Anthony Rapp, who was brave and came out and starred all that. And then Kevin Spacey is a predator in a way that people like what's the Democrat who has
Bill
stepped
Clinton?
down? No, the Democrat. He's
Al Franken.
Al Franken. Now I'm not. Well, actually, no, I am. I'm kind of defending Al Franken because Al Franken's behavior was not good, but it was very different from the kind of constant predation that Kevin Spacey acted out upon vulnerable people around him, seemingly his entire life.
Yeah, it's really disturbing.
He's a bad man.
And it makes you feel even ickier about American Beauty. Like, I can't ever...
Yeah, I used to think he was so sexy in that movie, and it's not.
Now it's like even worse.
That's the kind of thing where you watch a movie and you masturbate and then you sob for 2 hours. That's gross, nasty.
You masturbate only during that bag scene, though, right?
Yeah. It's the beauty. Yeah, it's the art that turns me on.
Most beautiful.
Okay, so other men who were nominated for Best Director. Del Toro for The Shape of Water, right? Which I want to see so badly.
Indeed.
That looks like an amazing
Intriguing.
McDonough for 3 Billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri.
You sound like you don't know anything about that.
I had never heard that.
Here's so The Shape of Water, let's just talk a second about those movies because this is a big category. The Shape of Water, of course, is a tale as old as time, a love story between deaf mute woman and Fishman.
It's essentially our friendship.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's a really weird thing that only Del Toro would make come to life. I've seen trailers but haven't seen the movie yet. I definitely will. That the whole movie is held together by the color scheme of everything having like a filter of like teal on top of it, which is supposed to represent the like perfect meeting of green and blue, earth and water. And like when I heard that, it literally gave me the chills, and I was like, he already makes everything so beautiful that's just like the detail I am looking for.
Well, and speaking of detail, the costuming in that movie, obviously the main sort of merman type character, or I guess the love interest. The merman / monster, or whatever he is. That costume is stunning.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Level of attention to detail and care that went into it. I mean, I cannot wait to see that movie, and I wouldn't be shocked if he won.
He didn't. Oh, Del Toro. Yes. So he picked up a lot of acting nominations for that movie, but notably the guy who plays the monster, whose name I can't recall because he isn't on this list of people, he did not receive a nomination. And I feel like people have talked about this before with Andy Serkis. There's really not a special kind of category for that type of acting that is so prevalent in our CGI culture that we really need to add something, because he and Andy Serkis and lots of other people who've done that kind of hard work really deserve like their own category.
They do. It's a very different kind of work, but it's a performance.
And it's vital to the movie.
Girl!
Another thing I heard about The Shape of Water is they ain't doing this storybook romance. They ain't afraid to fucking go there. So I'm intrigued to see what the sex situation is like, because apparently you get a full-on sitch.
Oh, wow. We get to see fish dick?
I don't know.
Ooh.
But
I'm into it. I mean, I'm down.
There's something.
I'm not. The idea turns
it's just
me
intriguing.
Off, but maybe when I see it, I would suddenly become a fish stick lover.
Maybe.
You know? I like fish sticks. I wonder if fish sticks are going to be cold and fishy the way fish sticks are.
I'm very unhappy with the way this conversation has turned.
Sorry, it's all me.
And it's only good with like ketchup. You know what I mean?
Ooh, fish sticks and ketchup.
Okay.
You got it, queen.
What's the other movie? The 3 Billboards?
3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
So,
is that a civil rights film?
No. Okay. So this is based on a true story. This woman, played by Frances McDormand.
Ooh, love her.
She's fantastic. Her daughter was, I believe, brutally raped, murdered, and set on fire, which is a horrible thing. And I think what I heard is the movie just dives right into that. Like, that's what happened. That's her trauma. That's what she's living with. But she takes it out on the police department because they didn't catch her killer. And she thinks they didn't do enough. So apparently it was all this drama, and it just jumps right in. She rented these billboard spaces right outside of the town they live in, and the billboards basically call the sheriff out for like not finding the killer. Yes. And so they're having to like deal with that. But then there's all this like inner workings in the sheriff's department. I think Dax Shepard plays like one of the cops, and he's like very racist and very brutal. And I think there's like a scene where he like beats a black man or something. There's a lot of like racial tension in the movie on top of like rape, murder, and setting a daughter on fire, but also it's supposed to kind of be like a Coen Brothers-esque dark comedy situation. So people are really intrigued about it. I've heard a huge mixed reviews. Huge. I don't know. I'm intrigued, but I definitely wouldn't go see it in theaters personally, but like I would watch it on Netflix or something.
Well, that's interesting. Okay, so the two movies.
Oh, and Woody
we talked
Harrelson
about,
is the sheriff. Did I say that?
No, you didn't.
Woody
I
Harrelson.
love him.
Yeah.
Oh, I would fuck him even at his age today. I'm just putting it out there.
I don't
You don't think so? You know, I was
not
trying to
even
binge
in
watch
White Men Can't
Cheers.
Jump.
What about in Cheers? Do you remember him in Cheers? He was so young.
I don't like drunk people. You know?
Well, that's how you got your man, so.
That's so true.
Yeah. You were in college, though, that's why. Okay, so far, we've got Del Toro, who's not Caucasian, Martin McDonagh, who is white, but both of those movies are about people who are different, people who are abused, people who are forgotten, people who are liminal figures. Yeah. So that's interesting. But that's the thing, though, is we're not talking about best film right now. We're talking about best director. Mm-hmm.
Who else you got?
Okay, so we've also got Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk.
People love a good war film. It's probably going to scoop up some awards just because people fucking love war films. Mm-hmm. Not saying that's not a good movie. People loved it. I didn't see it because it's not my thing, but I just, it's a war film.
Yep, exactly. So it's got all of that going
I do love
it.
Christopher Nolan, though. He does solid work.
Yeah, I mean, I like his work. Yeah, but I'm like you. I would never watch a war film.
I would, but it would be like at the bottom of like a list of choices. Like I would never pick it if I could watch something else.
Yeah. We already talked about Ridley Scott, All the Money in the World. Last one. This is a person who has gotten no attention at all from Hollywood. So it's a movie called The Post, and the director is good old Steven Spielberg. Practically an unknown,
Interesting.
Yeah.
It is interesting. I literally had never heard of The Post until these nominations came out. Mm-hmm. I didn't watch a trailer, but I Googled about it and saw some still photos. To be honest, looks boring as hell.
Yeah.
But I think that he's one of the top contenders for Best Director. I personally think it's either going to be Spielberg or Del Toro.
I'm hoping for Del Toro.
Me too. I'm pulling for him.
That's my hope. But I think you're right. I mean,
because
anytime Steven Spielberg's involved... Oh, I'm sorry, baby.
No, you're right.
Anytime Steven Spielberg's involved, you have to guess that he's got a good chance of...
Because he's awesome.
Yeah.
But also this movie, The Post, picked up so many nominations that you have to assume, even though it looks hella boring, it must be good in some capacity because it has nominated for like everything.
Yeah. And when you said it's Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
Literally America's sweethearts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Two of the most talented people on earth.
Yeah, so I think he's got a chance, but I think we're both pulling for Del Toro.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What next, baby?
And then they do an interesting thing with the Best Picture category because they break it into drama and comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a preference for either category, and oftentimes they place weird things in the comedy category, such as previously The Martian, which then became a running joke, like, hey, you guys know that comedy, The Martian?
It's deeply hilarious,
Yeah, and this year, Get Out, I know, was nominated in the comedy category, and I was reading about it, and basically, whoever is in charge of submitting that assumed that it would have a better chance of winning in the comedy category versus the dramatic category, so that's what they went with.
And it is, I mean,
his friend was really funny.
It is a very, very dark comedy. It's a satire in a way, and it's like, it isn't just like a straight up drama. I guess there's part of my soul, though, really kind of recoils from that being called a comedy. But I guess...
I read some tweets that were like, from black people that were like, white people think Get Out's a comedy because of course they do.
Oh, yeah. Because it's so outside of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So, so I think that's up there. Do you have some of the other ones? I have two choices.
Okay. Is your other big choice The Disaster Artist?
It's not, but I wouldn't be upset if they did win.
Now, I'm pulling for Get Out. I'm just going to say that right off the bat. But I cannot wait to see The Disaster Artist.
Me too.
I love James Franco, and I love The Room, which is what that movie is about.
So great. And Seth Rogen's such a great writer that, like... from all the interviews I've heard, all the previews I've seen, they obviously crushed it. And, like, I think he's so talented. Like, I really do. Like, they do so many projects that sometimes they're real hit or miss. But I feel like it wouldn't be undeserving for him to start getting more nominations and hopefully a win.
At all. Yeah. He's very much like an outside hipster artist. That's the way I think of all the weird stuff he does. Some amazing weird art is what he makes. I do think... I don't know. I was watching an interview with James Franco when he was talking about being part of this movie. And, you know, he's really good friends with, what's his ass? The guy who...
Tommy Wiseau?
Tommy Wiseau. And Tommy Wiseau didn't have a huge hand in The Disaster Artist.
He gave his blessing, though.
But he did give his blessing. And I think that's because he understood that James Franco, who only saw The Room, like, within the last couple of years, like, he was real late to this game. James Franco really has an affinity to Tommy Wiseau because you can tell that man... misguided, but that man put his heart and soul and like $6 million of his own dollars,
which is a huge question that I heard doesn't get answered in the movie. I heard Seth Rogen in an interview, and they were like, "But where did Tommy get the money?" Because he's so ambiguous. And Seth Rogen was like, "I really wish I could tell you. He gave us the runaround. We tried to find out, and the answer is who fucking knows where it came from." But you know what else about Franco?
What else?
People don't think of him as like a great actor, but I feel like he actually secretly really is because he always goes the distance to embody what he's doing, even if it's fucking ridiculous, which it almost always is fucking ridiculous. But he's really good at that. Like, there's probably almost no other person in Hollywood that could play this character. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine someone else?
You know what? Well, we were just talking about Tom Hanks. I mean, Tom Hanks is just an amazing, very talented actor, but I think he would have been a funny choice. Well, he doesn't look anything like Tommy Wiseau. You'd have to do like... It
is crazy how much Franco does look like him.
Yeah. Well, and he did have some, like his chin, I think, was different, his nose. But not only did he portray this character on the screen, Tommy Wiseau, but he also stayed in character while directing the movie. Did you see that interview?
Yes, because it's him. It's like a movie within a movie.
About directing a film.
Yeah,
it's very meta. It's very meta.
But very smart.
If
very
Get Out
Rogan
wasn't part of this list, I would definitely be pulling for The Disaster Artist. But I think I know the other movie you're thinking about because we talked about it already. Right? Go ahead. You say it this
time. Lady Bird, because Greta Gerwig was snubbed. I think she'll take on the writing category for this. But I think that for a comedy category, for me, the choice is really between Lady Bird or Get Out. I think The Disaster Artist is going to be a great film, and I'm really excited that it's getting so much buzz. But I think that literally people are saying Lady Bird is quite possibly the most perfect movie ever. So I think it could have a really strong, like, it's a good contender. And I think if Get Out beat it, I wouldn't be upset. But maybe if any other movie beat it, I might be like, I don't get it, you know?
I feel that. Well, and it's about... perfect piece of art at the perfect time, right? I think both Get Out and Lady Bird speak to issues that we're trying to work through as a society, as a world, really. And so I think they both deserve it, in my opinion, more than something like The Disaster Artist, even though I am so excited to see it.
And Get Out is so beautiful in so many ways and so pertinent. And I'm straight up just biased to the story of Lady Bird because it's literally just a coming of age story for like a misunderstood girl who doesn't have the best relationship with her mother and is trying to figure out what's best for her in spite of her family. And I'm like, whoa, did somebody write this movie about me in the future or in the past or in some alternate universe? Because that's amazing.
I'm going to tell you the truth now. I'm the inventor of Bitcoin and I'm from the future and... I did not write this movie because I'm not going to take the credit for that.
I want them to know.
Okay, so the two other movies who are nominated in this
The Losers, what are they?
Yeah, The Losers. I, Tonya?
Oh, that's that new Tanya Harding flick.
Oh, Lord. No,
it's getting great reviews.
I don't give a shit. Tanya, here's my thing. Oh, not to like be super
we get it. You hate Margot Robbie. Go ahead.
No, I like Margot Robbie. But this is like when that serial killer guy died recently? Couple
Manson?
Back. Manson. Okay. When people do horrible things, why do we continue to talk about them? Right? Just unambiguously horrible.
Well, Tanya Harding still denies to this day her involvement in the Nancy Kerrigan fiasco. I think it's an intriguing movie, and I will absolutely be renting it.
Wait. Nancy, I'm sorry. Did I get confused? Tanya Harding's the one who had her leg broken.
No, Nancy Kerrigan is.
Nancy Kerrigan is. Tanya Harding's the one who
was implicated.
Supposedly. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so I was right about that.
Yeah. So she was the one who was implicated in the bashing of Nancy.
Right, yeah.
Well, you know what? I grew up with that controversy, so for me, it has a special place in my heart. And I always, Tanya Harding is this like white trash girl who had her glimpse of glory and it all fell apart. And so it's just like one of those things right from our childhood that's like I can't not be fascinated by it, but I won't be going to theaters to see it. And I don't think it should win.
Well, and I'll tell you what, actually, I want to backpedal a bit because unlike Manson, who was just a horrible cult leader, serial killer, she was also a great athlete in her own right, Tony Harding. So I'm going to backpedal that just a touch. Yeah. I guess I'm just not
You're still like, that's annoying, but it's okay.
Yeah, I see your case.
I don't love when movies about real things are like always the winner, like almost like every biopic, like The Queen and like shit like that. Like all that stuff is really great and I do enjoy that kind of stuff, but I get tired of those things being the winners. That's why when like war movies win everything, I'm like, I get it. I feel like a bad person for things. I get it. War's like really important. It's a really big part of our lives. But for me, that's not the kind of stuff I want to see at the cinema. So I don't love when that's what gets all the awards. And like maybe I am a shit person. I'm just like a garbage human. I don't know.
Actually, now I might be just yanking our own dicks here, and building us up. But I actually think it's the opposite because I think my thing with like war picks is I read the paper. You know what I mean? Like I get enough war. War is always happening. It's painful even to read about the bare facts or to hear about NPR. I know that's how you get most of your news, right? We are connected to the world, right? And we paid attention in our history classes. I think sometimes that the more empathetic you are and the more connected you are to our world, the less interest you have in wallowing in that. Now, I'm not saying that's the case across the board. Some people just are more interested, and that's lovely. We are fantasy people. That's what we like. That's how we see the world and how we deal with a lot of our issues, our personal issues. But I'm with you, girl. I mean, come on. And anyway, there is no war right now, except for the ones that are, happening as we speak, that has not been covered so fully. So fully. I'm so tired of it. It's just like how there are like 542 published biographies of Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, now, damn.
I love me some,
that's excessive.
But that's too much, Queen. Yeah, stop fucking writing about him. Or put him in a fantasy world and write about Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, girl. There was that one where Abraham Lincoln was with the vampires. It was a movie.
I remember seeing that.
I watched it. It was actually really entertaining.
It was really funny.
I was really into it.
Did they make him queer at all in that movie?
I don't think
that's
so.
asking for too much, and that's but there's a lot of
he did like that hat.
What's that mean?
I don't know. It was kind of flamboyant.
Okay. Anyway, last loser, just real fast. The Greatest Showman.
Oh, that's Hugh Jackman playing P.T. Barnum. I actually was shocked to see that on the list because it kind of looked like a dumb movie when I saw it. But I love Hugh Jackman. I would rent it. I would rent it.
I have no idea. I assumed that was about P.T. Barnum, but I don't care. And another thing, circuses are done. We know that circuses
Well, maybe that's what the movie's about. I don't know.
Oh, that could be.
Maybe it talks I think it's about his rise to like creating the circus, but maybe also chronicles the fall. Who knows?
Okay.
Hit us with some drama picks if you can.
Ooh, yes.
And this is really interesting too because we have drama and comedy, but when we get to the Oscars, they're going to smash all those together. And so typically what happens is we get two winners at the end of the Golden Globes and only one of those winners usually moves on. Like rarely do they stray from it's usually one of these two winners is who wins.
Well, the five. We've talked about almost all of these already. The five nominated for Best Motion Picture Drama. Dunkirk, The Post, The Shape of Water, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and Call Me By Your Name.
Which we have not talked about, so let us take a moment. So this, of course, is a movie about two men who are queer in a time when it's not cool to be queer. Currently.
Yeah. It happened yesterday in Arkansas. Yeah.
No, I think it was set in the 80s, maybe. I think it was in the 80s, and it stars Armie Hammer, who you might remember from, like, the Facebook movie, whatever that was.
Oh, he plays one of the twins. Or he plays the twins.
He's both of them.
Yeah.
And then he did that really bad Lone Ranger movie, and he's done a couple of other things. But he's trying to slowly, it seems like, wheedle his way into being an indie darling, which he has definitely accomplished with this movie. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the actor who plays the other guy.
Microphone book table.
Yeah, so he has a complicated name, is why I don't remember, because he's slightly ethnic, and Armie Hammer has a weird name, but I know him because he's white.
Sounds like Armin.
And I'm apparently racist, so that's my life.
Well, hey, you have to, every white person has a little bit of privilege they have to work through. That's okay to admit.
So I'm obsessed with the concept of this movie. Haven't seen it because, like I said, haven't been to theaters in months, but it's at the top of my list next to Lady Bird. Tell us what you think about it / have heard.
Yes, as a queer person, I am an expert on this movie. Actually, you probably know more about than I do. For example, I didn't know either of those men's names. It looks like a gorgeous movie as far as cinematography goes.
It's in Italy.
I love, yes, and also setting, and it's just so romantic and stunning. I think it looks very sexy to me.
I think it's real sexy.
Now, there has been some criticism about the fact that it portrays a younger gay man. I think he's 17. With a man who's like 24, right?
Which, yes, and Armie Hammer, I think it seems even worse because Armie Hammer is in his 30s. Early 30s, like maybe he's 30. So, but he looks much older than 24, so that exaggerates it a bit further, you know?
The thing with that is, pardon me, had some homophobia stuck in my throat.
Oh, girl, you and me both.
Self-hate. The thing about that is, look, a 17-year-old gay man, it doesn't have to be a sexual relationship. Well, legally it shouldn't be, of course, but a 17-year-old gay man needs an older queer man, or at least a queer person, to help them through all of the guilt and the societal shame that they are experiencing. 17 for me, now I had my very dear friends to help me through, and I was able to repress most of it and deal with it later, but that was a very difficult age for me, because I was queer and in a place where it wasn't really accepted by society. So I think sometimes people look at a relationship like that and they say, oh, it's wrong, pedophilia, blah, 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 et cetera, but I haven't seen it yet. I can't wait to.
Me too.
When I watch it, I'm going to be watching it through the lens of there's this young boy who at least has queer attraction, even if he's not, gay as such. And he needs someone to help guide him through that. And on the other hand, or even furthermore, it's a really consensual, sweet, soft, kind love. And fuck anyone who says that those two people don't deserve that, regardless of age. That's my feeling about it.
Yeah. Well, yes. And I mean, for God's sake, it's not like fucking Lolita, which is a book that's like still revered. That bitch was like 11 or 12. Yeah, she was really young. That's disgusting. At 17, everyone's at like a different place in their life. Maybe his birthday was next weekend. Maybe he almost 18. And if you think that makes it better if he waits 7 days, to me, it's a little arbitrary. Personally, if I were 24, I would not be interested in dating a 17-year-old. But what if I met a 17-year-old and he or she seemed much older and mature and we had a real connection and I fell deeply in love with that person? Would I feel bad about it? I might, but I would probably still go through with it.
Absolutely. Well, if you love them, I mean, who's going to tell you? You're going to say no to love? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And this is also a very special situation in that movie.
And it's not even the point. It's like so besides the point,
Which is so exciting. Yeah, they don't both get AIDS and die, right? They don't get bashed.
Yeah.
They have a love affair.
They're just in love, and it's beautiful, and they're in Italy, and it's like this special thing. And I have heard literally only positive feedback about this, and I'm really excited to see it. And it is my pick for Best Motion Picture Drama.
Mine too. Especially if The Shape of Water, if Del Toro wins for Best Director.
Easily. This will go to him, or to them.
I hope so.
And it's just indie enough that, like, it just brings you joy to see, like when Moonlight won last year at the Oscars. It's like, it's a great film. They had some money. They didn't have a ton. It is produced, but not too much. And it just deserves it. It's like, that's the kind of shit we need to be putting, like, our money and our energy towards, right? Like, there's too many big budget fucking Dunkirks out there. Sorry, not sorry. Whoever likes Dunkirk. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it is great.
Yeah.
But I want this movie to win.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and if they are offended that you don't love Dunkirk, I would say, so what? You don't like Call Me By Your Name?
Ooh.
Oh, now I'm offended.
Ooh, and also it's based on a book, Mickey.
Call Me By Your Name?
Uh-huh.
Oh, so I thought it was based on porn.
Oh, well, it is also. It's many layered. So outside of those three big categories for movies, of course, we want to know about the actors and actresses. Do you want to just run through the ones that we think should win those categories?
Sure. Which one do you want to start with, Bibi?
Can we do Best Actress in a Motion Picture Comedy? Or musical?
Yes. You start talking, I'm going to find it.
Okay, and then we can actually go in whatever order you want, because I have mine printed out and you're on a cell phone. So
you're perfect.
You tell me. So, of course, my pick, Best Actress in a Motion Picture Musical or Comedy, is Saoirse Ronan for Lady Bird, because I have had my eyes on her for so long. Literally everything I've seen her in, she's been perfect in. Last year, Brooklyn got some attention, which was a little sort of indie type film that she did that I literally was obsessed with like happy tears. I thought it was so beautiful, and I think she's gorgeous, and she's so talented, and she's done a lot of really great films. She was in the Grand Budapest Hotel. She's done a lot of other films before that, and she always delivers. She always delivers, and she deserves this.
How do you say her first name?
Saoirse.
That's a beautiful name, but I would never know that's how you pronounce it.
She's super Irish. I saw her in a video where they were like, "What's your name?" And they had her pronounce it, and then they asked her to pronounce other difficult names in Hollywood, which was really fun to hear her. She actually did pretty good with most of them because she's, European and intelligent.
Yeah.
But yeah, Saoirse. That's an interesting one.
Well, let's see. You know what? I'm going to go... I would be fine with Saoirse Ronan winning, especially with what we talked about. But I heard that Victoria and Abdul, which stars Judi Dench, was supposed to be amazing. I believe the Abdul...
Dame Judi
A dame. Yeah, that dame. Sorry, dame. Abdul was an Indian prince, I believe, whose father was murdered or at least dethroned by the English when they had their empire.
That sounds about right.
They snatched him up, or at least he came to England, and he became one of Victoria's,
actually
close.
Yeah, he was supposedly,
supports.
Because Victoria famously mourned the death of her husband forever until she met this dude.
And she just adored him. Now, I will tell you, I did read in the Times that he fell out of favor, as people of color tend to do with very powerful white people over time. And he died penniless and alone in a tiny apartment.
Oh my God, that's a bummer.
I know, it is really sad. I don't know if they cover that in this movie, but...
Wait, she got nominated?
Judi Dench did.
And this is a comedy?
Yeah. Wait, Best Actress in a Motion Picture Comedy or Musical. Yeah, see, and that's why this whole category is
doesn't make any sense.
Maybe it is really funny and they just don't talk about how it ends. Because they were close for 30 or 40 years. Yeah. Something crazy.
Maybe it was the good times.
Exactly.
I'm intrigued about that. I actually didn't know that movie existed or anything about it. So
it sounds fascinating.
Yeah, so I would totally watch that. Okay, so is the next one... What you want to do next?
Do you want to do Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama?
Yes.
Okay. Ooh.
Okay, for me, this was a close call because when you see Meryl Streep's name up there, you assume possibly Meryl Streep, but I'm going to go Sally Hawkins, The Shape of Water, because she had a silent performance that I have heard was incredible. So I'm going to go for her.
I feel you. I feel where you're coming from. I have a deep and abiding love of Jessica Chastain. She was in it. I haven't even heard of this movie, which is embarrassing.
I had heard of it, but...
Molly's Game?
Yeah, it's based on a book, which is why I heard of it. But the book is, it's like a fictionalized version of a girl's life, but it's these are mostly true events, that kind of story, where she basically was a hustler in the gambling ring, but she was just this really stunning woman, and she was just a fucking hustler.
That kind of sounds like I'd be really fucking
she made her bills that way.
Yes, I love a strong, sneaky woman. Girl, I'm watching that Grimm right now. This is apropos of nothing, but there is a character in there, and she is a hexen beast, so she's a witch. Her name is Adeline, I think.
Oh.
And she's the fiercest, most evil bitch. I
like
love
it.
her. I love her.
I'm gonna have to get on that show.
But you know what? That being said, I'm going to go with Meryl Streep because it's a safe choice. And Meryl Streep's everything wrong. I don't care about the post, not at all, but I do love her.
Well, I hope to see Sally Hawkins up there because I'm feeling the love for The Shape of Water. Okay, what's next, baby?
Okay, let's see. So we've done. Do you have input about best supporting actress?
I do.
In a motion picture? Why don't we do that then?
Okay. Which one?
Oh my gosh. Oh,
drama or comedy?
I didn't know.
Or is it just one?
I think it's just one.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Well, I have two choices of people I love.
Okie dokies. I hope one of them is Mary J. Blige.
It's not.
Oh my God.
But good luck for her. Because love is blind. So Laurie Metcalf plays the mom in Lady Bird, so I think she's definitely a big contender because obviously I'm obsessed without even seeing that movie. But I think Allison Janney for I, Tonya seems like if you see the preview, Allison Janney, first of all, fucking fierce, never gets the credit she deserves. She is incredible. She looks amazing in that movie, and I think that it's probably going to be her.
Octavia Spencer, Mary J. Blige, Hong Chow for Downsizing, which I haven't seen nor heard of.
Not sure about that one.
She's lovely. Laurie Metcalf for Lady Bird. But I'm with you. Allison Janney, you're right. She's been overlooked so many times for so many amazing performances. I obviously don't care about I, Tonya, but I love her, and I would love to see her win.
I hope she does. That little beauty.
That's with Bobby Jabul. Okay, let's see. I think those are all the actress things that I see. Do you have any others?
Nope.
For the scroll? Okay, you want to talk about
actors.
Best actor in a motion picture drama.
Do you want to read through the people that got nominated?
Show. Okay, this is a French man. Timothy Chalamet.
I think it's Chalamet.
Chalamet. That's a great last name.
Right.
And he's not just Timothy. He's got a weird thing over it. Okay, he's for Call Me By Your Name. Oh, that's that boy.
He's the other guy, yeah.
Yeah, and look how he is just
so
cute.
I know.
Oh, God. Love those soulful eyes. Daniel Day-Lewis for Phantom Thread, Tom Hanks for The Post, Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour, and Denzel Washington for Roman J. Israel Esquire.
Is The Darkest Hour that Winston Churchill biopic? I think it is.
I think it is.
Yeah. I heard good things about that. I actually heard somebody say it makes a good double feature with Dunkirk, like watch them together.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Because World War II.
Sure.
Anywho, my pick... I'm going to go with Timothy Chalamet for Call You By Your Name or Call Me By Your Name. Because between him and Armie Hammer, one of them's going to fucking take an award for this.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's so young too, and it's supposed to be such an amazing performance.
Yeah.
I think I will too, especially because the other four men in this category, They've gotten there.
They've been there.
Yeah. I do have a soft spot for Gary Oldman.
Me too. He was my alternative. If Timothy doesn't win it, I'd be all right with Gary. Even though I just said I hate that thing about biopics and stuff. I'm sure he was a fantastic Churchill, and he's a gentleman and a scholar.
Exactly. But that's a hard little Timothy. He's in deep. Because
that's
are
some
legendary
deep competition.
Mims.
So if he does win, he can literally just shake the haters off forever.
Exactly. That's
forever.
Okay, what about Best Actor in a Motion Picture Comedy or Musical? Ooh.
Yeah. Read us them nominees if you can.
Lots
of good choices.
Yeah, I'm into this. Steve Carell, Battle of the Sexes. Enzel Elgort, that's how you say his name, right? For Baby Driver.
I like
so
his
fine.
face.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
James Franco for The Disaster Artist.
Congrats, Franks.
Hugh Jackman for The Greatest Showman. And Daniel...
I think it's Kaluuya.
Kaluuya for Get Out. He's the protagonist.
The main guy.
He is amazing.
He
was
so great.
in
This is another steep cat. The dudes are really bringing it this year with the competition. For me, I feel like it goes, but I'm torn between a Steve Carell or a Daniel Kaluuya, and I want a Daniel Kaluuya to win, and I think he's probably the most deserving because his performance was everything.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, he was amazing. But it could be a Steve Carell.
You know what? I'm going to go for James Franco because
I wouldn't be upset
I think
all.
his performance in The Disaster Artist, just what I've seen of it, looks astonishing. And we were talking about how he, he's a fantastic actor.
Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be bad.
I'm not really into Hugh Jackman winning necessarily, and I wasn't that impressed. What I've seen of Ansel Elgort.
I loved Baby Driver, loved it. R.I.P. Kevin Spacey's career.
Yeah. Did you like his performance?
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay, I heard it was kind of cardboardy.
Well, he doesn't talk very much, and he wears sunglasses a lot, so it was a very subtle performance, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. That was one of my favorite movies of the year. Okay. But I feel like some of these other people are more deserving than him. He did fucking awesome, but these other people also did more fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
I will say, for me, it's James Franco, followed up by Daniel Kaluuya. You know what?
Actually, I'm on board with that. Can they just co-win?
Yeah!
Just share that award?
Yeah, why not? I don't think that's allowed. Not at all,
cool.
All right, what about Best Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture? Mm-hmm. We got Willem Dafoe for The Florida Project. You heard of that?
Yeah.
Is that about shooting?
Honestly, I don't know.
I don't know either. Armie Hammer, Call Me By Your Name. Richard Jenkins, The Shape of Water. Christopher Plummer, All the Money in the World.
Congrats.
Mm-hmm. And Sam Rockwell for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing.
Now, remember... I said Dak Shepard, but it's actually Sam Rockwell. To me, they're the same fucking person.
Oh, God. Sam Rockwell's so fuckable.
So, but remember, he's the fucking racist dude who, kicked a person really hard or beat him up. So I think
I would say
he's not going to win.
Yeah, I shouldn't. I don't want that. Let's not give.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, that doesn't negate.
Sam Rockwell's not a racist abusive
Exactly.
person.
And that doesn't negate the work he put into the role or anything. But, do we really want to? No. I'm tired of
Richard Jenkins' role in The Shape of Water, he plays the gay best friend to Sally Hawkins.
Oh,
and what I heard is that in that movie they kind of made Octavia Spencer a little one-dimensional, did not give her enough to do, but that they kind of fleshed out Richard Jenkins and that he was a really fabulous character because Sally Hawkins did a silent performance. I mean, she had a lot of other emotions and ways to show that, but that he really carried the scenes that they were in because he was so magnanimous and that he was really, really great. So I feel like he would be a strong contender, if not Armie Hammer. I kind of think it's an Armie Hammer deal locked in, but if Armie Hammer doesn't win, I think it's a Richard Jenkins.
I totally agree. Well, I agree with the Armie Hammer, I should say. I don't know, that Christopher Plummer coming in at the last minute and saving
it's really impressive.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, very impressive.
I would say for me, it's a toss-up between those three. Forgive me, I don't know The Florida Project. I sure didn't look it up. I do love Willem Dafoe. I mean, he's great.
He's the best.
Yeah, because I haven't heard nothing about it. And I think Florida's a bit of a scary place.
Indeed. My favorite Willem Dafoe is when he's in The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, and Steve Zissou didn't pick him for something, and he came and he ran up and he was like, "Thanks for not picking me." That's the best. That's always going to be the best. I love him forever.
I like him as the Green Goblin.
You would.
In the old Spider-Man. I just think he's perfectly
Speaking
cast.
of Franco.
Yeah, exactly. I just think he was the most perfect comic book villain. He was made to play that role. And he's also in the upcoming Willem Dafoe is the advisor to Aquaman.
Oh,
the
shit.
Undersea advisor, who in the comics is after a while a villain.
Interesting. Well, it would make sense for him.
Right, he plays a good villain. Do you want to do maybe best animated feature film?
I do.
Yes. Okay. So we've got Boss Baby.
Gross.
Yeah. The Breadwinner. I don't know what she's about. Coco. Ferdinand. And Loving Vincent. To me, this is an obvious choice, but maybe...
Well, it is because there's one glaring movie missing that people are upset about. It got snubbed. Lego Batman.
Oh!
Lego Batman was most assuredly a better film than Boss Baby. So what happened there?
Well, it's one of those things where it's the same thing with putting speculative fiction in a ghetto. Maybe because it's a Lego movie, they overlook it. Right?
Well, the Lego movie, the first one, I think it won for that category.
Oh, did it really? Mm-hmm. Well, that's what happens when you talk out your ass, Mick Parker.
Well, anyways, it's deeply upsetting that that Lego Batman, because it's hilarious. If you haven't seen it, Lego Batman's off the chain. It's so funny.
I've heard it's really good.
But you're true. Coco is the obvious winner. Yeah, it's Coco.
It's gotta be Coco.
It's Coco.
Coco is another movie I cannot wait to see. Once it comes out on video or I can get it on Netflix or whatever, I like to like be able to pause it so I can go pee and shit. 'Cause you know how often I go pee. Mm-hmm. And I'd be missing all kinds of shit in the movie theater. I'm peeing right now.
Well, that's uncomfortable. I did have just one more category from the movie section I wanted to talk about.
Sure. What?
Best screenplay.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
So I don't have all the nominees.
Okay.
I don't know if you do. But I'm very biased already and know who I want to win.
Oh, talk about who you want to win.
I really want Greta Gerwig to win because I feel like writing is such a hard gig, and she wrote and directed this film, which is really ambitious and can go really, really badly, but it did not for her. And I feel like it would be a really big win for her and for that movie, and I want it to happen.
I hope it does. Okay, let's see. We've got Del Toro and Taylor for The Shape of Water, Liz Hannah and Josh Singer for The Post, Greta Gerwig, we said, Martin McDonough, who, wow, both wrote and directed 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Interesting.
And then Aaron Sorkin from Molly's Game. Yeah,
I didn't know he directed that.
I didn't know either, but it's gotta be Greta Gerwig.
I think so.
I just feel like that's obvious. I don't know. The Shape of Water.
It would be a contender. If that won, I wouldn't be like, no, this is bullshit. You know what I mean? But I prefer if she won.
Yeah, me too.
Woman
okay,
power.
So we agree about that.
I'm feeling very feminist in this situation right now.
Let's do it. I want you to feel feminist all the time, except where it takes any of my privileges away.
Well, obviously.
Oh, that hit too close to home.
Oh, okay. So we've done the movies. There's some other shit we don't care. Now we've got the fucking television shit. Yeah, boy.
Oh, yeah, boy.
And this is an interesting thing because it's following so closely on the heels of that last award show, which was what, the Emmys. So we're just jumping right into moving on with the TV shit. You know what I mean?
Show enough. And and you know what's interesting? It seems like a lot of the same things are getting love, which is not a shocker. Mm-hmm. But there might be some differences. We'll have to see if we can remember.
You know what I didn't research and don't know enough about? Like
feminine hygiene.
Like I guess it's The Crown season 2. Yeah, I got your joke, but I had real things I was thinking about because I'm a fucking woman.
That's right. Stand up, baby. Be heard.
So, like, Crown season 2 just came out like 2 weeks ago. Last week. But is that The Crown that we're talking about or Crown season 1?
No, it's Crown season 1. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Crown season 1 because The Handmaid's Tale also is here.
But The Handmaid's Tale came out this year.
Yeah.
And Crown season 1 was last year.
Oh, so it is the second season, I guess.
But The Crown season 1 just swept a bunch of awards at the Emmys a couple months ago. The timing is very confusing.
Okay, you know what? Talk about why you love The Crown. I'm going to look it up right now.
Why I love The Crown. Season 1, first of all, I love like all things about royalty. Like, it's just this weird thing that's ingrained in me where I'm like extremely fascinated about it. Like, I'll read a 3,000 page book about Mary Queen of Scots. Why do I do that? I don't know, but I find it deeply interesting. And Mary Queen of Scots, let me tell you, that bitch had a hard life because she fell in love with Francis, and then when Francis died, well, if they fell in love, that's iffy because, you know, who can really love who they're arranged to? But anyways, they had some kind of love. They had at least an agreement. He died, and they were like, girl, bye, you're not the Queen of France anymore. And she went back to Scotland, and they were like, where you been, bitch? Nobody wants you here. You're a fucking Catholic. What's happening? Are you Protestant? Elizabeth is Protestant. She wants to be our queen. And she was like, what do I do? So she married her cousin, like you do, and she had a baby. And then, anyways, eventually she made a deal with Elizabeth to unite their countries, which ended up in her head being chopped off and her son disowning her. But he did unite their countries when Elizabeth died. But was it worth it? I kind of don't think it was, to be honest. I digress. The Crown is about Queen Elizabeth II.
And that, motherfuckers, is how you stall for time. That is how it's done. Keep going, girl.
Anyways, it's about Queen Elizabeth, and you see her come into her reign. Season 1, it's in the 50s. Her father's just died. She's barely married in a young marriage with 2 small children, Charles and the other one. Whatever that bitch's name. It's like Mary or Anne, one of those fucking English names. And basically, they're in love, but also they have problems. And now they have bigger problems because, she has power and he has none.
Uh-oh.
So that's the 50s. And then season 2 takes us through the 60s. And the plan of The Crown is to follow subsequent decades all the way through her current reign and probably her death because she's 91. And is she going to make it through the next 6 or 7 seasons of The Crown? I don't know. Fun fact about The Crown. The Queen's third son, Andrew, and his wife are huge fans of The Crown. They love it. I read a little interview where he said that basically he loved seeing, an outsider's view of like his family's ascension to where they are now and the changes that they had to make because Queen Elizabeth has made a ton of changes in the monarchy to change with the times. And that was really hard for her. A lot of season 1 was her adjusting to people being like, you have got to modernize. And her being like, but tradition and pomp and circumstance. He's dead.
Tradition.
Tradition. And so he insisted that the Queen watch season 1, and Queen Elizabeth binge watched season 1 of The Crown and gave her blessing. She did say there were a few historical inaccuracies, embellishments that she didn't approve of, but that overall she felt that like it was wonderful.
Aww.
So that's a fucking seal of approval if you ever got one.
Well, now, after all of that good information, I've got kind of a guess. On the television front, Stranger Things 2 is nominated.
So it's probably
season
2.
I'm guessing it's season 2.
Which season 1 of The Crown I felt like was much better than season 2. Well, you had John Lithgow playing Winston Churchill and you had the end of the war and like a lot of things. Season 2 was very Nazi heavy. We learned a lot about Prince Philip's family's Nazi interactings, which was and I guess kind of still is a little bit of drama about like her marrying him because his family was straight up Nazis.
Wow, I did not know.
Yeah. Ooh, and girl, I found it. I did not know. I'm so sorry. I love the fucking Crown. I binge watched season 2. So the guy. Okay, so Queen Elizabeth's father was King George. They made that movie, The King's Speech, about him. He had that speech impediment.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Great movie. King George was only king because his brother, King Edward, I think, or Alexander, whatever, he abdicated the throne because he was king because their father died. But then he wanted to marry Wallace Simpson. Yes, the American divorcee shrouded in controversy. And the people wouldn't have it. And he said if he couldn't have his wife and his kinghood, then he didn't want both. He only wanted her. And honestly, I think he didn't think that they were going to go for that and they were going to let him do what he wanted because he's the king. Didn't work out. He abdicated. Okay, so King Edward or whatever his name was, he had some fucking Nazi ties and some Nazi leanings. They did a whole episode about these like papers that were uncovered during Elizabeth's reign that her father had buried down and didn't want published, like correspondence between fucking Hitler and that dude. And so when he stepped down as king, he was still like Duke of some bullshit. And so he still did a bunch of official like business for the crown, and one of his business for the crown is he was a liaison to Germany as the Nazis came to power, and he had all these secret Nazi sympathizing leanings, and the fucking Nazis promised him if they could get England, if he would pass like secrets and like do all this shady shit for England, that when the Nazis took over the world, they would get rid of King George and they would put King Edward back in place. So King Edward was banished. He's banished like so hard from England, but I kind of didn't know why. And I thought that they were just mad at him because he abdicated and it's embarrassing and it was this big controversy. But it turns out that was some shit. And then at the end of the episode, if they have something cool to show you, they'll be like, and here's what happened in the real story. And then they'll show you like photos. And they had all these photos of fucking King Edward with fucking Hitler and like all this stuff. So like it could have been a very different war and world if he had not abdicated the throne. You know what I mean? Yeah,
that's very, what's the name of that show on Amazon Prime that's about if the Nazis...
The Man in the High Castle.
Man in the High Castle, yeah, based on a...
It blew my mind.
Philip K. Dick story. Yeah. Yeah,
I went in a Wikipedia wormhole hard.
I legit thought I loved him because I was like, oh, he abdicated for love.
Me too, I felt bad for him. Girl, he's a fucking Nazi. And of course, like, when the Nazis lost, he was like, what? Who cares about Nazis?
No, I know. Yeah. So, Lord Voldemort made me do it.
maybe he wasn't. I feel bad to judge him intensely because I don't know him. I don't know his life. And in the show, when Queen Elizabeth confronted him about this, like, horrible thing, he basically said, like, he was like, you weren't there before the war. He was like, Hitler wanted this universal peace, but there was a picture of him visiting a concentration camp. So, like, maybe he thought in his head, yes, Hitler wants peace, but he was there for the rise of the fucking Third Reich. Yeah, like maybe he didn't physically see people being thrown into gas chambers, but like he's seen to gas chamber, you know what I mean? So like maybe in his little world he thought that it was going to be okay and he changed his mind later, but you can't undo history, and the history says you wrote to Hitler you wanted to be king.
Girl.
Oh, and he gave, sorry, one last tidbit.
No.
That's why she banished him permanently. He was already like pretty much banished unless she invited him back. But she was like, you're done. Because he gave them information for the bombings in England. Like let them know when would be like when the military would be like indisposed.
That's not right.
Thousands of like his citizens. She was like, how could you? And he was just kind of like, it wasn't really like that. And she was like, but it was.
Well, and that, that's one of was it absolute power corrupts absolutely, that, for that phrase. Mm-hmm. The thing is, when you've got power and privilege, you start to believe that the ends justify the means, right?
Yes.
I think that's one of the big deciding factors.
If he was king after that, he would have been like, it was worth it.
Yeah, it was worth it. Well, it is, it's the same thing, frankly, that Americans do with dropping atomic bombs on Japan in World War II, right? Because obviously that's something that some Americans are embarrassed about, and a lot of people are very frightened of, but what they always say to justify it is, well, how many thousands would have died, if the war hadn't ended, okay? Well, it's an argument, it's a conversation that could be had, but the problem is when people in power make these really atrocious decisions, that's almost always the way they justify. Mm-hmm. And that's the way Hitler justified his shit, too. Mm-hmm. It was all about the ends, which was a beautiful, peaceful, pure society. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
It's a greater good conversation.
Like, when you say it out loud, it's like, but how did people get behind Hitler? You know what I mean? Like, it's literally almost like impossible to understand how
it's not impossible for me to understand. Well, because, girl, if you think about World War... We're going off on a tangent, but this is interesting, though. To me, at least. If you think about, end of World War I, Germany was really beat down.
Yeah.
They had a lot of poverty. A lot of their social structure had been eroded. First and foremost.
The wall.
No, not yet, girl.
Yeah.
No, But their monarchy was destroyed.
R.I.P.
But the thing is, to me, in my little mind, that reminds me of white voters voting for Trump in a place like Arkansas, where we're from, right? The fact that they have pain in their heart and they've had to overcome a lot of difficulty that was really some of it very unfair, it makes it understandable that you would reach for anyone who's a demagogue who says that they're going to make your life better. Does it make it forgivable? No, actually, it really, really doesn't. But at least you can sympathize with why they are choosing such hateful, evil things. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very similar to Hitler's rise. In that show Grimm that I'm obviously obsessed with right now, they say that Hitler was he's a Wesen. He's like one of the monsters, and he has some kind of power. I can't remember which Wesen he's supposed to be. But, he was a really charismatic figure for all of his evil. And Germany was in a uniquely vulnerable place,
Just like Queen Elizabeth in season 2 of The Crown.
Exactly, which brings us back. So, girl, that was good. You really stalled for time. So good. The 5 nominees: The Crown, Game of Thrones, The Handmaid's Tale, Stranger Things, and This Is Us. This is almost word for word the Emmy nominations, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This is TV drama.
But The Crown was season 1 at the Emmys.
And this is Stranger Things too, as well.
So, I'm going to go with The Handmaid's Tale.
Yep.
People love it.
Yep, I agree. I mean, The Crown sounds amazing. It's not really my jam.
Season 2 was like, not as good in my opinion.
Wasn't as good.
It was just like a little more boring.
This Is Us, I've heard people rave about.
People love it.
Shit about that show. No offense, just not for me. Stranger Things 2 was good, but I think it's gotta be The Handmaid's
It's gotta be.
I feel like
It's gotta
Did
be.
you know that Elizabeth Moss is a Scientologist?
I just found out. I found that today.
I was so upset.
Somebody told me you worked the other day, and it ruined my day. I literally couldn't get anything done the rest of the day.
Girl, and you know that girl in The Walking Dead who's the lesbian. She's also a Scientologist.
That bitch also in Handmaid's Tale?
Oh, no. She's not Handmaid. I don't think she's in
Wait,
Handmaid's
who's the
Tale.
lesbian?
The one who goes and finds the community full of women with the guns. They
She's
steal the guns. And she's also the little sister of Hyde from that 70s show.
She is? Oh, and he definitely is.
He's not only is he a Scientologist, but now he done got kicked off that shitty Ashton Kutcher multi-camera sitcom they put on Netflix called The Ranch or some shit.
Oh, that's that guy?
Because of sexual assault allegations. Yeah, it's all,
Okay. I didn't know that was him or that he was on that shitty show. And also, I didn't know that shitty show existed until that controversy came out.
Yep. Well, I tried to watch it. I'm just not. And anyway, that's not the point. But yeah, Elizabeth Moss is a Scientologist.
Yeah, literally, I just found out like last week.
It makes me so
really
sad.
Mad.
It makes me so sad.
It doesn't make any sense.
Scientology
It's like,
is a cult.
did you read The Handmaid's Tale? Because it doesn't sound like you did. But also, I picked her to win Best Actress.
I mean, look, here's the thing. I don't believe in discounting an artist's art because of their personal views and problems. Because if we did, every artist... No, that's not true. There are so many artists who were either misogynistic, homophobic, or racist. If we discounted all... Or a pedophile. Actually, I read something about that in New York Times. If we were to start to discount every artist's art because they believe something that we disagree with, or add in Nazism, between those 5 things, there's no art left. We've destroyed all art in the world.
Well, I guess the only thing I have to say, Elizabeth Moss, is, but why?
But why Elizabeth Moss? Yeah, I think I think that's gonna win though.
What's the next thing you want to talk about for TV?
Want to talk about best TV musical comedy?
I so do.
Fabulous. Okay, so let's start with your fave. Who do you think is gonna win it?
Master of None.
I agree.
Season 2 killed it.
Thanksgiving episode.
Yes, hands down. Amazing. Best thing ever.
I 100% agree. The other, Blackish on ABC, that's supposed to be amazing. I haven't watched that.
I haven't either, but Tracy Ellis is a fucking queen.
Her, isn't it? Tracy Ellis? She's gorgeous.
Yeah, and that show does seem really great. I unfortunately have not seen it. I don't know if it's on Netflix, but if it's there, maybe I'll give it a watchy watch.
Have you heard about The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
Yes.
Did you watch it?
No, it's an Amy Sherman Palladino. She did The Gilmore Girls and Bunheads and shit like that. I'm a Palladino head, so I'm into it, but I have not given it a watch, and it's an Amazon original show. Sure enough, yeah. It definitely seems like something I will be watching, but I still think Master of None's probably better.
I'm kind of offended that the other two are SMILF, SMILF on Showtime.
I don't even know what that is.
Single mom I'd like to fuck.
Maybe.
I think. I don't even know, girl. I don't watch that shit. And then Will and Grace was also nominated. Now look.
Which apparently came back this year.
Yeah, and I watched it. I watched I think I've watched almost all the episodes. Normally, you know me, I've got a bias for anything queer. And even if it's not great, I will prefer it. I think that Will and Grace is okay. I think the revival is fine. I think most of the magic that made it so special when it originally aired in the 90s? Yeah.
Wow.
Is no longer there.
It's dead.
In my personal opinion, and look, I love all of those actors. I love what that show did when it was originally out. I think it was incredibly important. Girl, do you remember? This is very personal and very dark. The night I came out to you, we watched Will and Grace after.
I literally don't remember
Girl,
that.
because you were traumatized. Me too. But it was the episode where Will comes out to Grace and their boyfriend-girlfriend at the time, just like we were. Oh my God. I'll never forget it. It makes me want to cry right now.
Did that really happen?
Yes, girl. But
I gotta find my journal.
But anyway, I just don't believe it deserves to be nominated right now. I mean, I don't know. I think it's one of these things is not like the others, and I think the Will and Grace reboot is that thing.
Interesting.
But I'm with you. Master of None. It's gotta win.
Easy.
Okie dokie. What about best miniseries or TV movie?
Obviously I have an opinion because it's Big Little Lies or
nothing. But what about The Sinner on the USA Network?
Oh, wait. Oh, That's the thing with Jessica Biel. It got renewed and people were like, what?
I was totes just joking. I never even heard that shit. There's also Top of the Lake China Girl on Sundance Now. It's probably artsy. It's on Sundance. Feud, Bet and Joan on FX. This is the same thing with you on the Emmys. You went for Big Little Lies, and I'm pretty sure I went for Feud.
You think so?
Well, I just think the acting's amazing. There's also Fargo on it. FX is twice
People
nominated
love Fargo.
Yeah.
But Big Little Lies was really special. It was really special. It was good. And I read an article... I didn't read the whole thing, so I can't tell you the answer. But Big Little Lies, they just announced is going to have a season 2. So people are like, so how is it a limited series then if it's a season 2? But I think season 2 is going to be like maybe a totally different storyline. Because season 1's based on a book by Leanne Moriarty. So they just are inventing a season 2.
Well, but you said The Sinner's been renewed too, and it's also in this limited series.
Well, then they should probably
find
something else.
Series. Yeah, that's odd, isn't it?
Maybe it's a miniseries because it's like not very many episodes. I don't know how that works. But anyways, either way, it's Big Little Lies. So.
Okie dokies. Now, for the Best Actress and Actor, just want to run through who we think we're going to win?
Yes.
Okay. Best Actress in a TV Drama. Who you guessing?
Elizabeth Moss.
Ooh, I could see that. I'm going to go for Maggie Gyllenhaal for The Deuce. Gyllenhaal, not Gyllenhaal. Gyllenhaal.
Is it?
Gyllenhaal? Jake Gyllenhaal. Oh, it's Gyllenhaal. Okay.
I haven't seen that, but want to. It's on HBO.
It looks so good.
It does.
Okay. What about Best Actress in a TV Musical or Comedy?
TV. I had 2 choices. I don't know. I really loved Glow with Alison Brie. Like, really
she
loved
was good
it.
in that. Yeah.
But I really love Insecure with Issa Rae. And it would be wonderful to see a woman of color take that award home.
And
I'm
with you on that.
It's deeply hilarious in like a good way, but it's also like real as fuck. I don't know. Maybe Issa Rae. I'd be down. I wouldn't be mad if Alison Brie won though.
I'm going to go for Issa Rae too. I thought Alison Brie was good in Glow, but I just had a lot of problems with that series in general.
It's problematic.
Yeah, and it just wasn't... Where was the magic? I wanted the magic, and I felt like they never gave it to me. That's not necessarily her fault, Alison Brie's fault, but yeah, Issa Rae.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck, girl. What about Best Actress in a Miniseries TV movie?
Nicole Kidman, 100%.
Yeah, over Reese Witherspoon.
Over her any day. She owned that miniseries.
I'm going to go for Susan Sarandon Feud. Once again, this is very much because I thought she was amazing and really captured a lot of magic in that. There's also Jessica Lange, who I love.
You do.
But I don't know that she lived inside of her character as much. But I definitely think it's going to be Nicole Kidman or one of those 2 big names from Feud. Okay, what about Best Supporting Actress in a series, miniseries, TV movie?
Yep, they just really smashed that all together, didn't they? So Ann Dowd won this award at the Emmys, and she was shocked, and everyone else was as well. But I feel like that's kind of an indicator, you know what I mean? So I think I'm going to go with Ann Dowd again, just because I like to be a winner. I
feel you. I am going to, because you just completely abandoned your favorite show. I'm going to go for Laura Dern.
She's the lady I have written down for my second choice. Like, she was fantastic. And she's gorgeous.
I know she is. Oh, I just love her. I mean, well, she's a legend. Yeah. You know. I know we haven't watched This Is Us, but do you know Chrissy Metz? The woman who was...
I know who she is.
I love her because... you can tell she's not as comfortable in Hollywood. She's also a fat woman. And I know that is hard to the point of impossibility in Hollywood. It would do my heart a lot of good to see her win.
And people love This Is Us. They really do.
They do. So I'm going to say Laura Dern, but if Chrissy Metz won, I would be really happy for her.
Pretty much that category, there's a couple of great choices.
Well, Michelle Pfeiffer's another one. Yeah. What about Best Actor in a TV drama?
I was really torn because I love Better Call Saul. It does not get the love it deserves. Better Call Saul is fucking awesome. And I love Bob Odenkirk, so he's my natural go-to. But people are obsessed with Ozark, and Jason Bateman is also a really good actor. He's kind of like, he kind of only has one thing he does, but he does that one thing so good. You know what I mean? So I'm torn between Bob and Jason. I hope it's Bob because Saul needs a little more love.
Now, I am going to go, because I also like to win. I think Sterling K. Brown for This Is Us has
he
a
won
very
last time.
strong chance. Yeah,
he did.
Because I've heard that his performance is great. I haven't watched literally any of these shows, which is very embarrassing.
I saw a little bit of Ozark. It's intense in that way Breaking Bad is intense. And I wasn't ready for it.
I can't. I'm already too fragile. I can't live. Okay, best actor in a comedy or musical.
Ooh, in a comedy or musical.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't think it should be Eric McCormack for Will and Grace. I love him, but no.
I actually went with somebody that's your favorite, William H. Macy.
For Shameless?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, he's so good in that show.
I still haven't seen it, but I feel like his performance is probably incredible.
Once you, and I shan't spoil anything, of course, though normally I don't give a shit about spoilers. But I'm not going to spoil anything now. Once you get to know that character, it is such an odious character that he plays. The amount of charisma that man has to have, William H. Macy, to make that character lovable is off the charts. Absolutely off the charts. I think he deserves to win. Yeah. I will tell you, I love Aziz Ansari. He keeps being nominated for acting, and I just don't think he's that good of an actor. I think he's an amazing writer.
I think he's, like, good, but, like, it's questionable depending on what the other talent is. You know what I mean? Like, I think definitely he's not in the running to win that award, but it is nice they gave him a nod.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, I want him to get all kinds of nods, but I don't know. He's just, I've never seen him in anything. I've seen so much of his work. He makes me laugh like no other, but does he show a lot of range? No. I don't think so.
He's kind of like Jason Bateman in that way. Like, he really kind of has, like, one thing he does, and he does that one thing incredibly well.
Exactly.
And he does
it. Yeah. Okay, so William H. Macy. What about Best Actor in a miniseries or TV movie?
So... This wasn't, for me, there weren't, like, as many choices as I would like to have. But I went with Ian McGregor in Fargo because I like his face and I want to see it.
I think that's fair. I'm going to go with Kyle MacLachlan in Twin Peaks.
Interesting.
I haven't seen the reboot, and to be honest, it was hard for me to get through the original.
Oh my God, me too. I feel so alone in that.
I think maybe we're the wrong age. Maybe we were too young when it came out. Or maybe we're just fucking losers and it goes over our head. But it makes me laugh some, but I don't know.
Agreed.
Lynch. I don't know about Lynch. However, that being said, I do love me some Kyle MacLachlan. I think he's amazing, and I've heard people rave about him.
Indeed.
I'll tell you what. Once again, Robert De Niro, the Wizard of Lies. Why are we writing movies about Bernie Madoff? He was a criminal. He didn't do nothing special for nobody. And he wasn't even... Oh, I'm getting my finger now.
Oh, he's busy.
Well, he wasn't even like an athlete. Like Tonya Harding. He's a fucking, like, investment banker.
We're putting that quote on a t-shirt. He wasn't even an athlete like Tonya Harding.
I would wear that. I'm serious about that, though. Why do we keep... I don't know. I'm just... Ugh.
I hear you.
The biggest punishment is to forget someone altogether. That is the punishment. And so why do we keep just living for these villains? I don't get it.
I hear you, girl.
Any hoozle. Okay. What about this, baby? Best Supporting Actor? Series, miniseries, TV movie?
So I think Alexander Skarsgård took this award home at the Emmys. But I got a little space in my heart carved out for David Harbour. Stranger Things Season 2.
Yep. Let's see. He was pretty amazing this season. I kind of prefer him in season 1.
I prefer him in season 1, but I was really into seeing his relationship with Eleven and, like, him being, like, kind of reckless father, like, forgetful but loving and, like, overbearing but, like, trusting. It was a lot of complexity to their relationship, and I really enjoyed seeing that.
Do you watch Mr. Robot? You watch that show?
I don't.
Kristen Slater's in that. And
I don't like his face.
I know you don't like him. I think, like, back in Heathers, that's him in Heathers.
Even then, I was like, is he going to murder me? Because he looks like he will.
A lot of people feel that way, but I have this attraction to broken and or dangerous men, which I'm not saying is a good thing, but it's just how it is. Yeah, it's just a fact that I have to work through. But Kristen Slater is very much that man. Yeah. I thought he was sexy as fucking Heathers. He's less sexy in Mr. Robot, but he is... pretty impressive in that. So I think I'm going to go with Christian Slater. But if David Harbour won it, I wouldn't be upset.
Right.
If Alexander Skarsgård won, I wouldn't be upset.
True. Too true.
Okay, Queen, do we have any others that you haven't hit?
I don't. Those are my top ones. I feel like we hit all the like big series and like also movies that are gonna like sweep all the other like subsequent categories as well. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like those are the big ones.
They're big, most important. I will tell you, as far as best original song, I haven't heard not one of these damn songs. But Home, which is in Ferdinand, is by Nick Jonas, someone named Nick Monson, who probably everyone else knows.
The Knicks, yeah.
And Justin Tranter, who I love.
Who's he?
He's a queer icon. What was he in, Justin Tranter? All I can think is Goo Goo Dolls, and girl, I know that's not right.
Goo Goo Dolls.
Justin Tranter. Well, Morgie, are you going to watch the Golden Globes when they are airing, or are you just going to follow the bits?
I am probably going to watch it, but I think it's like this weekend maybe, after we record this. Or it's in like 2 weeks.
No, it's on the 7th. It'll be coming out. Semi-Precious Weapons. That's Justin Tranter.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. But he's a songwriter, and I just really love him. I mean, you know, I'm not as much a music person, so I'm not like blown away by that part of talent, but I just think he's sexy and talented, and I don't know. I love Nick Jonas. You know I want to fuck
Girl,
Nick Jonas.
I know you got all them Jonas feels.
And I ain't never lied, and I ain't never confuscated or obfuscated or...
It's weird that you like him, too, because he's not even an athlete, just like Tanya Harding.
Well, I noticed when you took off that purity ring, I said, that hand looks a little bare.
Ooh.
Let's fill it with my dick.
Wow. He was like 14.
Girl, he's not 14 now. And he took it off like, he was definitely not 14 when he took that shit off.
Okay.
They played that fucking Disney bullshit game for a long time.
That's annoying.
Didn't fool my ass.
Well, we're excited for the glitz, the glamour, the awards.
The guts.
Yeah. Ooh, we're excited to see people get sad with their like, oh, I'm happy for you face. It's
I
like
love the
super
concession
face.
face. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So I look forward to all of that.
Ooh. Okay, so now if we get all of our guesses right, we need to decide how we're going to treat each other. For example, you could treat me by just turning your volume all the way down next time we record. People can just listen to my beautiful voice.
You know, that could be arranged.
Oh, I was just kidding. Don't leave me. Don't leave me.
I know you feel sad if you were alone. Precious. Speaking of being alone, we better let them get to it.
Okay. You got any plugs, Morgie?
I literally don't.
I'm going to plug, this is so fucking stupid, because this show is not even on air anymore, but I've brought it up twice this episode. I'm loving Grimm. I'm not saying it's high art, but look, that man who plays Grimm, I forgot his name right now, he's the protagonist. He's so fucking fine. I just can't live. And I just really like that show. It's on Amazon Prime, first 5 seasons.
Okay.
The 6th is not yet, but it will be soon, because it ended in like March of this year. And if you're just looking for something to maybe take a little bit of your drug of choice and zone out and watch something that is mostly ridiculous, but every once in a while really gets you in the feels and has a ton of really fantastic, strong female characters.
Oh, nice.
I would recommend Grimm.
All right. I changed my mind. I'm going to recommend Wikipedia wormholes for all things regarding royalty and historical lineages, because it'll get you through many hours.
Girl, yes. Now, have you donated to support Wikipedia?
No, and they'd be making me feel so guilty.
Girl, me too. I gave them $1 5 years ago.
Yeah, and I go there frequently, and they're always like, "Hey, bitch, we notice you use our site a lot. Would you like to give us money, or do you want us to die?" And I'm always like, "Ooh,
die."
I don't want you to die, but also don't want to give you money. It's really hard.
Girl, you have to pick and choose what you support, though.
But let's plug everyone else giving money to Wikipedia.
Yeah, we can put the link in there.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Support Wikipedia.
Good luck, girl. In the meantime, you guys can follow us on Facebook at B&B Cast, Instagram, Twitter, and you can check out our website, bnbcast.wordpress.com. We're on YouTube. Subscribe to our page and hit us up. We love to hear from you.
Yeah, check out our Instagram, check out our personal stuff. You know it's all here in the show notes.
It's there.
Just scroll your little fingers.
Click down
your little mouse down.
below.
But make it easy for you.
So easy.
Why are you trying to make it difficult?
Why you at? That's so Tanya Harding of you.
You ain't even an athlete.
But you're not, so think about that for the rest of the evening.
Personally attacked.
We love you.
Love you, baby.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Tanya Harding, knee smash.
Oh, that's how that goes.
Do you have a home? Beauty in the Bed.
You look. Beauty in the bed.
Beauty in the Bed.